Today, we're going to tackle a huge idea using a powerful tool, game theory. And to make sense of it all, we're going to apply it to one of the most complicated and, let's face it, frustrating games there is, dating.
You ever just look around and wonder, why is everything so complicated? Why do we, as people, and even as whole societies, so often make choices that seem, well, completely illogical, sometimes even self-destructive? It really feels like we're all playing some massive game, but nobody bothered to give us the rule book.
So, to cut through all that noise, let's actually play a game ourselves. It's a simple thought experiment, but trust me, it's going to reveal some pretty profound truths about what really drives human behavior. You ready? Okay, let's set the stage. We're going to imagine a really simple society. Think of it like a little laboratory for people. And in this world, there's only one goal: pair up and get married. That's it. So let's lay down the rules. All right, here's how it works. We've got 5 men and 5 women. Their only goal in life is to get married. Now we've ranked every single person on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being, the worst, and 5 being the best. This ranking is based on a mix of everything: genes, wealth, status, the whole package. So you have a number 5 man and a number 5 woman, all the way down to the number 1s. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Now, if you think about it, the most logical strategy seems pretty obvious. But here's the twist. What makes perfect sense in theory, well, it tends to completely fall apart in the real world.
In game theory, the ideal outcome is something called a Nash equilibrium. It's basically the point where every player has made their best possible move, and no one can do any better by changing their own strategy. So in our dating game, the perfect Nash equilibrium would be for the number 5 guy to marry the number 5 woman, the 4s marry the 4s, the 3s marry the 3s, and so on. Everyone pairs with their equal. It creates a perfect, stable, completely rational society.
But we all know that is not what happens in real life, is it? The real-life strategy isn't to pair with your equal. The strategy is to maximize your own status, usually by trying to marry up. And this doesn't create a stable society. It creates what the source material calls a suicidal competition.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. We have this perfectly logical solution right in front of us, one that would benefit everybody, but instead, we collectively choose a path that looks totally irrational. So that brings up the billion-dollar question: why?
To really get this, we have to face a hard truth. We've completely misunderstood the objective of the game. We're not playing for the prize we think we are.
I mean, if the ultimate goal isn't just to find a partner and have a family, what's driving all this chaotic, irrational competition? What's the real prize that everyone is actually fighting over? It's one word: status. The real incentive, the real prize, isn't about having kids. It's about maximizing your social standing. People aren't trying to find a good partner to build a life with. They're trying to win a trophy that they could show off to prove their value in the social hierarchy. And this obsession with status has some huge real-world consequences. When everyone is competing for just the few people at the very top, you get a situation where most women are focusing all their attention on the highest-ranked men, the 5s and the 4s. And what happens to the men in the middle, or at the bottom? The 3s, 2s, and 1s? Well, a lot of them just give up. They drop out of the game entirely, becoming what we now call incels, or involuntary celibates. And the end result for the society as a whole is a total disaster. Procreation collapses. But here's the thing. This game isn't new, and its rules are definitely not set in stone. In fact, they change dramatically depending on the larger conditions of a society. This brings us to a concept called the superstructure. The easiest way to think of it is as the operating system for a society. It's the whole big picture: the demographics, the wealth, the technology, the politics. This superstructure is what sets the rules for the game. And when the superstructure changes, you better believe the game changes with it. Let's just take a quick trip through history. In early low-population societies, the game was pure survival. A strategy like disguised paternity might pop up, where women have multiple partners so that all the men in the tribe feel a duty to protect all the kids. Then, as populations grew and society started to compete, the game shifted to arranged marriages. Why? Because the goal was to maximize birth rates and crush your rivals. And that brings us to today. In our wealthy, crowded, modern world, we play the status game, where everyone's trying to marry up. And we've already seen how that ends, with really low fertility. So, if we can understand the game we're playing right now, we can actually use this framework to predict where our societies are headed. And honestly, the outlook is pretty concerning. This is the magic number you have to remember, 2.1. That is the fertility rate a society needs just to replace its own population. Anything less than 2.1, and that society starts to shrink. It is arguably the single most important number for any civilization's long-term survival.
And this is where the status game gets terrifyingly real. Look at the fertility rates in some of these wealthy nations. South Korea is at a shocking 0.7. China is at 1.0. These are demographic disasters in the making. But then, look at Israel. It's also a wealthy, modern nation, but its fertility rate is 3.0. The source suggests this is because they're playing a completely different game, one where cultural and religious values might prioritize family way above individual status. And this isn't some new 21st century problem. History shows that when a civilization's most advantaged women, the most wealthy, the most educated, stop having children, it's a massive red flag that the society is in a state of serious decline. You can see this pattern in the Roman Empire and many others right before they collapsed. So what does this decline actually look like? Well, South Korea is a perfect, if scary, case study. Step 1. The competition for status gets so intense that parents pour all their resources into just one child. Step 2. Over a couple of decades, this causes the working-age population to shrink dramatically. Step 3. You end up with what's called a zombie society, where a tiny group of young workers is struggling to support a massive elderly population. And Step 4. The nation loses its ability to do, well, anything. It can't innovate, it can't grow, it can't even defend itself. And if you want to see how dramatic this is, just look at this chart. Right now, about 60% of South Korea's population is of working age. By the 2060s, that number is projected to be cut in half, down to just 30%. That's not a gentle slope. That's a demographic cliff. And this brings us right back to the beginning. Understanding the rules, the players, and the real incentives is the key to seeing what's coming next. This whole framework suggests that the game a society chooses to play literally determines its destiny. So the final question we have to ask ourselves is, what game are we playing right now? And maybe more importantly, where is it taking us?